Hello everyone, my name is Uday and welcome to my channel. So in this video we will be learning about machine learning life cycle. So what it is, why it is important and what are the different steps involved in it, and we'll be also learning like each and every step in detail. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So, what is machine learning life cycle? So, we can define it as a cyclic process which involves three phases. Like the first phase, gathering the data and doing some pre-processing, doing some data wrangling or generating some insights. Completely, we'll be playing with the data in the first phase. And the second phase is building the models, where we do some predictive analysis. We train the models, we test it, and we predict the output. And the final phase is like inference phase, so where we deploy our trained models and we try to predict it in real time, and we try to monitor it, optimize. If it is not working well, we again try to iterate through all the steps again. So it depends, like if it is really not working with the given data, so we try to go again back to the business needs and we try to iterate over there with the different requirements, and we again collect a new data or new features. So we do again data engineering part and train the models again, deploy it. So it's completely like a cyclic process. So it involves various steps to develop an end-to-end machine learning project. So we'll be learning about each and every step in detail. So let's see. So why this machine learning life cycle is important, why we need to have a complete cyclic process in every project. So if we have this, it can help us to inspect, to complete the given project, and it can give the high level perspective of how an entire data science project should be structured in order to result in real practical business value. So if we have a cyclic process, so it helps us to just visualize what can be the result and what can be the business value uh, using that cyclic process. So if we fail to execute any one of these steps, it can result in misleading insights or models with no practical value. So it is important, like we should not skip any of this step, because if we skip it, it leads into different result, which is not the required business value. So we should not skip any of these steps and we should execute each and every step perfectly. So let's see what are the different steps involved in the machine learning life cycle. So it can start with defining the project objectives, gathering data, doing some pre-processing or generating some insights, let's say visualizing the data and everything. And later, like we train the models, we test it, we deploy it, and we inference it. And finally, we'll try to monitor and again optimize it. So if anything goes wrong, we just iterate back to that step and try to continue again in that cyclic process. So let's understand each and every step in detail. So let's start with defining the problem. So it is the first step in the life cycle is to understand the problem and to know the purpose of the problem. So without understanding what exactly the requirements is, we don't go further anywhere. So we stuck at any point, and uh, we think, okay, this is not going to work. So we need to understand the problem, then only we can start doing the further action steps. So uh, if you can understand the exact problem, then we can generate the good results. It depends on the better understanding of the problem only, we can generate the very good results. So if you don't understand the problem, so you collect wrong data and you push that data to train the model, so it will leads to generate the bad results. So which is not exactly the requirement of that business problem. So we need to understand the problem clearly. So the next step, after understanding the problem, after understanding all the requirements, the next step is to gathering the data. So we need to collect and prepare all the relevant data for the use in machine learning to develop the models. So here the important part is to identify the different data sources. So from where you can collect the data. and where you can store the data. So it depends on the problem you're solving. You can collect the data from different sources like files or internal files, databases, or you just go on internet and scrape the data from any of the websites available. So it depends. It depends on kind of data you want. So you need to identify the different sources for that one. And it is also important to consider the quality and the quantity of the collected data, because it will determine the efficiency of the output. So we need to keep in mind like identifying the different data sources and the quantity of the data and the quality of the data as well. So because if you consider all these things, you can generate the good results which can be efficient according to the requirements. So the next step, when you gather all the data, so it's time to prepare that data well. So if you prepare the data well, so we can push that data into the model training phase, so where you can generate the good results. So the data preparation part is very important here. In this step only, you'll be finding different insights which can lead to make some business decisions. So this is very important phase where you can make sure the data is clean, secure, and governed. So if you are collecting data from external sources, the data will not be clean. So you need to do a lot of pre-processing. You need to find the missing values. Uh, you need to fill them, or you find some kind of outliers. So you need to take care of all these things in the data preparation step. So, in this process, like of the cleaning the data, selecting the variables to use, and transforming the data in the proper format to make it more suitable for analysis in the next step. So, where you build the models. And here you can also do a feature engineering or feature selection, which is completely depends on the most important features within the data set, according to the domain knowledge or according to the knowledge which you have. Like if you have a lot of features and you can do some analysis over that, you plot correlation plots, um, uh, you calculate a lot of things. You can do a lot of mathematical stuff over there, where you try to find which are the important features to be considered while building the model and which are not. So you can do all these things in this step. So finally you'll be generating a data set which is ready to be used to prepare the models. So as a next step, after you completed the data preparation and you are ready with the data set which to be trained. So and the next step is to model training. Here we need to select the models to try and select in that selection depends on the business problem we are handling, or more than that depends on the application and the end results. So let's say you are doing fraud detection and you have a complete data set. So you need to define, okay, this is a classification problem, whether like you will be defining whether the given transaction is fraud or not. So you try to select the classification algorithms which are good to use for this problem. So you'll select all those algorithms, and you also uh, try to choose the models depending on the output. So as I said, like it's classification, and if you think, okay, we need to get the output very fast, the latency is very low. So you will be selecting a kind of models where the output will be generated immediately. So it completely depends on what are the requirements uh, of your project. So based on that requirements, you select few models to train. And so after training that, you need to optimize them, or you'll be also doing hyperparameter tuning to generate the best model out of all those models. So it also depends on the cross validation, noisy data removal, etc. Like there will be a lot of things while doing hyperparameter tuning as well. So here in this phase, like you'll get the data, you'll choose the models and do some hyperparameter tuning, and then finally you'll be selecting the best model out of all the generated models. And finally you'll be testing that with the unseen data which we never used in training phase, because we want to find like how good it is predicting the results when we just push the data which is completely unseen by the model. So there are various KPIs available in machine learning area for testing the accuracy and the performance of the model. which can vary on the business problems. So after completely validating our the best model, where we just validate with the complete unseen data, and we predict and we try to generate some different performance KPIs. It can be anything. If you are doing classification, you'll be doing you'll be fine. You'll be trying to improve the false positives or false negatives. So it depends. It depends completely on the problem you're solving. So after testing it, and if you think okay, the model is performing well on unseen data as well, and the next step is like model deployment. So the trained model has to be pickled. Like you need to create a complete package of the trained model, and we try to deploy that. Um, it can be anywhere. You can deploy it in your local servers or local system or on the cloud or anything, but it is important, like when you try to uh, prepare the complete package in a container, so it can be executable on any platform. Let's take an example like Docker containers. So whenever you try to create a complete package of the trained model and create a container around that, so it will not give any dependency issues when you try to install that in any other systems, rather than your own system. So it is better to containerize all your trained models and everything, the objects related to that, and you can deploy that at anywhere, and uh, you can create any services like a REST API to get the output when you pass the input to that, or you can also create the microservices. It depends, again it depends on the use case. Like if you want to have a REST API, or if you want to microservices, you can choose any of that while deploying your models and while predicting the output. In the final phase, like after deploying, you'll be using that with the real users. So whenever the user gives some data, it will be generating output. So that is what the inference phase is. So after the complete deployment period, and you need to monitor that you need to monitor that deployed model, because uh, there are like n number of measures that we need to that can be taken to improve the robustness and quality of the machine learning model. Like for a machine learning project to be successful in long term, like it requires more attention with regards to lineage monitoring and testing and the model drift. So these are the problems we usually face after deploying your model. So we don't usually get the same data every time while testing. So the data can change, the model can deteriorate, uh, or the model can drift because of the data, the incoming data is. So so what we need to do is like we need to retrain our model according to the data we are getting as an input. So here we need to monitor the complete performance of the deployed model. So whenever we see okay, there is some lack in the performance, or there is a lack in the model drift or the data which is incoming, so at that time we need to retrain our model with the new data. So when you retrain your model, so whenever you get the new data, so it can predict the output the correctly. Like let's say, let's take an example of Amazon. Like 5 years or 10 years back, the Amazon recommendation system is different, but there is a lot change in the user behavior in the next 5 to 10 years. So if you use the same recommendation system model which you used 5 years back, so the Amazon will not recommend the correct products to the users, and their revenue will be low. So to overcome that problem, what they do is like they always train the model with the new user behaviors, so they can correctly give the recommended recommendations. So they can generate a lot of revenue from that. So there is so we need to retrain and optimize that. So we'll just go back to the starting phases. If we try to retrain it, so we get the model, we again go back to the business requirements, and we do a lot of changes over there. We train the model, we get more data, again we train the model, and we deploy it. Like it is a continuous process, it is a continuous life cycle. So most of the companies fail doing this one, like this step, like monitoring and optimizing and retraining that. So because that can be because of the missing tools or inexperience in the teams and relatively high development costs. So it depends on a lot of a lot of factors where why these companies are failing to monitor and optimize the deployed models. So yeah, and this is for this video. So we'll be continue trying to do more videos on deployment. um, like as I said, we'll be completely focusing on ML ops, where we completely try to automate the machine learning workflow or the life cycle, let's say. So in the next videos, we'll be seeing more content. And if you are new to this YouTube channel, please do subscribe, and you can also press that bell icon to receive notifications whenever we keep a new video. And if you like our content, please do like it. And if you have any questions, you can comment that below. And thank you so much for watching this video. Goodbye.